first segment, and that is our comic book spotlight. Our comic book of the week that both Jesse and I agree on is the brand new DC title, Batman the Imposter. And this is a great book. It's brought to us by DC's Black Label, and it is written by Mattson. Is it Tomlin? Am I pronouncing that last name right?
Tomlin, I believe, yeah.
Tomlin. And as I said, art by Andrea Sorrentino. So if you know the Mattson Tomlin name, you know that he is one of the writers that is bringing us the very new Batman movie, The Batman. And hey, I think just today they dropped that movie is coming out March 22nd. So that's just around the corner. That's early on in the new year. Yeah, and they dropped 2 posters for this movie. I'm gonna say the one on the left is definitely Batman, but who do you think this is on the right? He looks like he's definitely holding a letter or a clue file or something. Like, is that supposed to be someone we know?
I don't know. I don't know,
but definitely very cool to see that. Maybe tomorrow with DC Fandom coming, we're supposed to get a look at another official trailer. So, I hope you guys are going to watch that, and maybe we'll check it out and also do a quick review on that tomorrow. But on to Batman the Imposter. I picked up the other cover of that, great one we just showed. And this one, you can see right by this art, you see Batman has kind of got that type of body armor look that the new Batman costume has, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see a little bit more of it here. Just a fantastic cover. And yeah, what a very, very cool book. Jesse, what do you think of this one?
I loved it. If this is anything how the Batman the movie is going to be, I'm totally down. Speaking about the costume, I found a picture and I put them both side by side. Sorry, it's not that one. They look very, very similar.
Very similar.
If you see the shoulder pads, it is the Batman. I'm almost 100% sure that this is Robert Pattinson's Batman in this comic.
Yeah, definitely. Especially how Sorrentino is drawing Bruce Wayne in this particular book. But what is the Batman the Imposter all about? Well, we're seeing a Batman in a dark, gritty Gotham, and somebody is impersonating Batman, putting on the cape and the cowl, but this time the person has been caught on camera murdering somebody. And when I say murdering, he literally, execution style, lines up 3 people on top of a building. They've got hoods on, they can't be seen, they don't know what's going on, and he kicks them off of the building. So what happens here? GCPD is putting together a Batman task force to track down and find Batman. And there's lots of hints dropping about how just different this Gotham is. There's no Commissioner Gordon. We find out that Gordon has lost a lot of respect, and that all of the GCPD has basically been looked down upon because they would light the bat signal and let Batman kind of do their job. One of my favorite things about this book, though, is the different points of view that it's written by. It's not written by Batman's point of view. First character we kind of meet is Leslie Tompkins, and they've switched up the Leslie Thompson persona, and maybe that's to kind of coincide with the movie, and I think I'm okay with that. We then meet a new detective, a female detective named Wong, and I loved her perspective and reading her stuff, and then again meeting other new characters as well. It just seems very, very down to earth and realistic, almost too realistic for me. I do still like a little bit of that fantasy and superhero-ness into the book, but this was written in a very grounded way that I'm like, hey, this is actually a nice take on it. Like how they're talking about how does Batman get across the city so fast, and people report seeing steel lines where there weren't steel lines, so he's got grapple lines to kind of just traverse, and he hides motorcycles all across Gotham, and that's actually one of the ways the detectives are tracking them. They're like, hey, we found 12 of these motorcycles that all have the exact same VIN number, but it's all filed down. So it's actually, very, very cool. But I think best of all, I really like the angle on what if Batman, or who is under that identity, is doing things in order for people to profit. And I don't want to go too much more into that, but there's a very, very cool, almost not conspiracy theory, but it's a theory of how they're going to find out what's Batman doing. Is there anybody who's losing because of what's happening to Batman, because if he's causing property damage, or are there people that are actually gaining because of somebody else's downfall? So a solid book. This was book one. Like I said, it's DC's Black Label, so it's going to be probably a little bit more adult oriented. There might be some cursing, might be some swear words, so might not be for your absolute young reader, but definitely a more mature reader. And I thought it was very, very good.
Now, before we move on, did you catch all the little nuggets from the movie that they placed into this book?
Only a bit. Why don't you bring up some of the ones that you found?
So a throwaway line, they brought up, oh, I got to go talk to the skeleton mask gang. In the trailer, we saw a gang of people wearing masks that looked like a skeleton.
Yep.
Oh, what else did they bring up? They brought up Commissioner Gordon's been fired. Alfred has left Batman. So let's just say this is a continuation, or this is in the Batman Matt Reeves universe. I'm going to say this is probably year 2 Batman.
Well, you know what? Oh, go ahead.
We're going to see year 1 Batman in the movie. Also, in the book, they brought up little Batman escapades. He blew up Wayne Enterprises by accident. We see that in the movie trailer when the car comes in and blows up. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a year 2 Batman in this book, and we're going to see year 1 Batman in the movie.
Yeah, I think that's great. And honestly, like, one of my big pet peeves is when movies come out that are based on comics, but they're different on the screen than the comic. There's usually not something for somebody to pick up and enjoy that's close enough to the comic, to the movie that they just watched. But I like that maybe by the time this series is finished in a couple months, two more issues, that trade paperback will hopefully be out by January, February. And then when the movie comes out and somebody loves that version of Batman, they can come into the shop and I'll be able to hand them, hey, you're going to want to check out this book because written by the writer responsible for the movie, or one of the writers, and clearly set in that universe. So that's a pleasant surprise for DC to be setting it up. And kudos for them. I guess they knew when this movie was going to happen in March. So hopefully everything stays on track and the theaters can stay open and whatnot. So
I wouldn't even wait for the trade, to be honest with you. I wouldn't sleep on this book at all. If
for sure.
If you are interested in the Batman movie, I'd say pick up this book. If you like Gideon Falls, like look at this image here. When I first saw it, I thought this is Gideon Falls. I had to snap myself out of it and realize it was Batman, right?
Yeah.
This one
honestly, too. Yeah, the art, Sorrentino, he's proven himself to be a stellar artist, and now he's almost got that reputation of being a little bit of like more of a horror genre artist. But I'm like, no, this guy cut his teeth on the Green Arrow series with Jeff Lemire. Like, this guy can draw superhero stuff. He just draws them more realistic and gritty, and I think this is a great look for Batman. So yeah, highly recommend this. We've got issues available at the shop. Just fantastic. Like Jesse says, don't sleep on it. If you're a Batman fan or curious about the movie, head to your local comic shop and pick it up. You don't want to miss it. Black Label has yet to disappoint so far, especially their Batman stuff. So definitely check that out.